Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm going to talk about my top five ways in which I think Doctor Who can be better. Now don't get me wrong, I think since Capaldi's been in the show and just generally recently, especially as I say in sort of series 8 and 9, I think the show has improved quite a bit. But I think there are still quite a few different things they can do to improve it and make it a stronger, better, more cohesive experience to enjoy, hopefully, for your average viewer or your dedicated viewer. First of all, a little bit of a disclaimer. One, this video has been sort of done already, not by me, but by some other YouTuber. Basically, the guy who is sometimes in Batman Matches videos, Billy, he did a video on his personal YouTube channel about how to fix Doctor Who, and basically I was so very interested by that video, so I thought, why the hell not do my own version of it? So just a little bit of a disclaimer there, so don't just think, oh, I'm just copying his idea as my points are different to his, and what I think the BBC can do and what the Doctor Who team can do to improve Doctor Who is different to what he thinks, and so on, and it'll vary from person to person, so it's still an original idea or an original angle on it. But yeah, so there's that, and also another thing is that although I've got 5 different ways in which I think Doctor Who could be better, not like number 1 isn't more important than number 5. They're all equal. They're not, like ranked as in number 5 is the least important, but number 1 is. So without further ado, I'll get into my top 5 ways in making Top 5 ways to make Doctor Who better. Obviously I've got notes here. So number 5, more surprises. For example, just generally looking back on Doctor Who, the last time I was genuinely surprised by something like what the actual hell has just happened, came out of nowhere, was Series 6 and the beginning bit where the Doctor dies. I was just like, what the actual F is happening? Like, what the actual like chicken eggs is happening? Like, I just thought it came out of nowhere. Yeah, granted, in retrospective, the resolution and stuff and that is really poor and that, but just for that two-parter, for that beginning bit, that fleeting moment where he just gets, is regenerating and then he gets killed or like blasted again and then he's dead. I was just like, what the actual turkey eggs, or chicken eggs? I was just taken away by that. I think, moving a bit forward in time, I think Night of the Doctor and the 50th, and, the Tom Baker being in the 50th and him being, the curator, and that was a jaw-dropping moment too, and so was Night of the Doctor. But to be fair, I think in an anniversary special, you expect surprises, but purely in the mainstream show, I think genuinely it's been that long since I was fully surprised by something. And I think something that damages the surprise factor of Doctor Who for me as I've got older, and just generally probably for kids as well, or and that is the internet. The fact that people, if say Peter Capaldi was to regenerate in the new Christmas special end of this year, X amount of months before we'd get it, we'd probably know. And so everyone would be theorising, oh my god, how's he going to leave her? And all this. And then there's no surprise, whereas if we didn't know that, that'd just be like, what? You'd just be like, what is left then? Number 4, new writers. So people who have never written for Doctor Who before and are already established writers elsewhere. So whether that be in, stuff like Star Trek or really, just get new talent, because with new talent comes new ideas and stuff, which, new writers, so someone who's never written for Doctor Who before. As so far, with all of the writers who we've had, they usually have a really good first story. Then when they do more stories, it seems to, not always, but sometimes go declining in in popularity, and I'm mainly looking at you, Chris Chibnall, who wrote Dinosaurs on the Spaceship. But yeah, even though 42 was really good. Number 3, more varied stories. Now, with new writers comes, hopefully, more surprises and more varied stories, you know? I just generally feel like for a long time we just haven't had a varied enough amount of stories. Like, Series 9 and Series 8 have been a step in the right direction. Like, we've had more stories set on Earth, like, because some people really like that aspect of Russell T Davies's era. Others prefer the more sci-fi aspect of Stephen Moffat's. I think you need that balance, that combination of as I say, like, sort of Earth stories, but also space ones to appease both people. For example, Series 7, all of Series 7, you have no episodes set on Earth. Or you do, technically, but in the past. So, technically, they're historicals, and then futuristic ones, and that's it. Like, not one episode was set. Well, actually, that's a lie. Bells of St. John, that's it. And even then, that was just a meh episode. Aside from Bells of St. John, there is no other episode in Series 7 that's a Earth story. I think recently they've introduced more Earth stories, like with Flatline and In the Forest of the Night, and then with Series 9 there's Zygon 2-parter. I think it's just nice because it breaks it up, it sort of grounds the show back into some sort of reality, which otherwise it seems to lose. But yeah, just more varied stories, just more outlandish, out there concepts. So, like, I don't know, an episode where the whole episode is set on the planet of cheese, where clearly none of the inhabitants can be lactose intolerant, of course, because they're on a planet made out of freaking cheese. I mean, why haven't Doctor Who done that yet? I don't know, but yeah. Just more varied stories. I think, like, that 2-parter with Maisie Williams felt too, not only disjointed, but too sort of, it felt stagnated, because not only did we get a historical Viking one, which was pretty pants, but then we just got another historical one, and that's it. And even then, it just felt like the historical aspect of the show just felt like a backdrop, and mainly all we were really given was Maisie Williams and the Maya, or Maisie Williams and that cat person who was very, very forgettable. Maya, not as forgettable, but were really annoying because they weren't actually just robots, they were aliens, which was dumb. So yeah, more varied stories definitely would be helpful. Number 2, a new musical composer, because I think although Murray Gold is very good at what he's done, I just think someone new, you know, it's ironic how Doctor Who at its core is a show about change, you know, whether it's changing the Doctor, the Companion, the TARDIS, the sonic screwdriver, whatever it is, it all changes. All the elements stay the same, but they change in a different version and iteration, and yet the music just hasn't, and I feel like the show's stagnated because of that, you know? We just seem to get the same old type of music and that. And again, going off what I sort of said about what was it, new writers or something, I made a comment about the different genre types, you know, Earthbound being like Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat being more science fiction-y. You know, Russell T Davies's music, there'd be so much, in retrospective, there'd be so much that at times I can't hear actors talking, you know, like it'd be so loud, you know, which is good because at least you can hear the music, whereas with Stephen Moffat's, it's so densely quiet, you know, it's so in the background that you really have to focus, and all you can hear is the actor talking over it. I think, again, it's finding that balance between, having music there, you know, more than the actor and over the actor, but depending on the context of the story, really. You know, some stories might require the music to be right at the forefront. Some episodes, you might need the music further back, and then the actors at the forefront, and vice versa, you know. But I just generally feel recently with Series 8 and 9, no music has really been that memorable, really, except maybe something in Hellbent that I can't even remember what the music was, but it was really memorable, and it was like old Doctor Who type music, but in a different way. Some of the music in Hellbent was actually really good, even though that's a crap story. Number one, better side characters. So more characters like Rigsy and Perkins. Even though Perkins was played by Frank Skinner, I think just the archetype, the character outline of Perkins is superb, and the idea of a character like Perkins is awesome. And I just think, yeah, Perkins, Rigsy, the Paternoster gang, more side characters who, although are side characters, just feel fleshed out and like they're part of the Doctor Who universe, and flesh the Doctor Who universe out more, flesh it out more. Because without side characters and that, I just feel like all you get is the Doctor and the companion, and that's it. The Doctor and the companion, and that is not a populated universe, One thing that I think Star Wars does really well over Doctor Who is making it feel like a real, breathable universe, where people live and there's different creatures and monsters and that. I think we've definitely got that more since Stephen Moffat's taken over, but even so, yes, we get scenes like the bit in the beginning of Magician's Apprentice where Colony Sav is going around the galaxy and stuff, and there's like a cantina scene type thing with loads of different monsters. But if we don't really know much about them, then it feels like that episode was populated, but not really, if that makes sense. Whereas like with Face of Raven, it felt like there was a continuity between obviously Flatline and Face of Raven, and so it feels like there's more relatability, and stuff linking to another past series, and also just, as I say, making that universe and that world more expansive and more realistic and more, again, fleshed out, like real people, and a lot more than just the Doctor and companion live in this universe. Because if it was just the Doctor and companion, people would just get so bored so quickly, and I feel like that is the case. Like Maisie Williams, yeah, she was good in that first episode. That's all I wanted from her. I didn't want to see her again and again, which they did do, because then she felt like too much of a big character, more than just a side character, Characters like Rigsy and Frank Skinner and or as Perkins, and James Corden as Craig, just more side characters, please. Like River at the beginning, I really liked her because she was just a one-off type, side character-y type person, but now she's just bigger than a side character type person. It's finding that balance between a side character and more than a side character, and sort of teetering on the edge of being a companion and that, or being part of the TARDIS team. I think side characters are very important. That's one thing that I like about the Cold War. That scientist guy, he's a cool side character. So yeah, thanks for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe. And this has been a video on my top 5 ways to make Doctor Who better. Please do comment below your top 5 ways you'd make Doctor Who better. And yeah, bye.